Prince Vijaya was a legendary king of Sri Lanka, mentioned in the Pali chronicles, including Mahavamsa.He is the first recorded king of Sri Lanka. His reign is traditionally dated to 543–505 BCE. According to the legends, he and several hundred of his followers came to Lanka after being expelled from an Indian kingdom. In Lanka, they displaced the island's original inhabitants, established a kingdom and became ancestors of the modern Sinhalese people. Ancestry. The king of Vanga married a princess of the neighboring Kalinga. The couple had a daughter named Supadevi, who was prophesied to copulate with the king of beasts. As an adult, Princess Supadevi left Vanga to seek an independent life. She joined a caravan headed for Magadha, but it was attacked by Sinha in a forest of the Lala region. The Mahavamsa mentions the Sinha as an animal, but some modern interpreters state that Sinha was the name of a beastly outlaw man living in the jungle. Lala is variously identified as an area in the Vanga Kalinga region, or as Lata. Supadevi fled during the attack but encountered Sinha again. Sinha was attracted to her, and she also caressed him. Thinking of the prophecy, Sinha kept Supadevi locked in a cave, and had 2 children with her, a son named Sinhabahu and a daughter named Sinhasivali. When the children grew up, Sinhabahu asked his mother why she and Sinha looked so different. After his mother told him about her royal ancestry, he decided to go to Vanga. One day, when Sinha had gone out, Sinhabahu escaped from the cave along with Supadevi and Sinhasivali. The 3 reached a village, where they met a general of the Vanga kingdom. The general happened to be a cousin of Supadevi, and later married her. Meanwhile, Sinha started ravaging villages in an attempt to find his missing family. The king of Vanga announced a reward for anyone who could kill Sinha. Sinhabahu killed his own father to claim the reward. By the time Sinhabahu returned to the capital, the king of Vanga had died. Sinhabahu was made the new king, but he later handed over the kingship to his mother's husband, the general. He went back to his birthplace in Lala and founded a city called Sinhapura. He married his sister Sinhasivali, and the couple had 32 sons in form of 16 pairs of twins. Vijaya was their eldest son, followed by his twin Sumitra. The location of Sinhapura is uncertain. It is variously identified with Sinhapura, Odisha, Singapore, West Bengal. Those who identify the Lala kingdom with present-day Gujarat place it in present-day Sivur. Yet another theory identifies it with the Singapuram village near Srikakulam in Andhra Pradesh. Arrival in Lanka. Vijaya was made the prince regent by his father, but he and his band of followers became notorious for the violent deeds. After the repeated complaints failed to stop Vijaya's acts, the prominent citizens demanded that Vijaya be put to death. King Sinhabahu then decided to expel Vijaya and his 700 followers from the kingdom. The men's heads were half-shaved and they were put on a ship that was sent forth on the sea. The wives and children of these 700 men were also sent on separate ships. Vijaya had his followers landed at a place called Saparika, the women landed at a place called Mahiladipaka, and the children landed at a place called Nagadipa. Vijaya's ship later reached Lanka, in the area known as Tambapani. On the same day Gautama Buddha died in northern India. Those who believe that Vijaya set out from the west coast of India identify the present-day Sapara as the location of Saparika. Those who believe that Sinhapura was located in Vanga Kalinga region identify it with places located off the eastern coast of India. For example, S. Krishnaswamy Iyengar speculates that Saparika might have been same as Sumatra. According to Mahavamsa, after reaching heaven, the Gautama Buddha requested the Lord of Gods to protect Vijaya in Lanka, so that Buddhism could flourish there. Indra handed over the guardianship of Lanka to the lotus-colored god, who came to Lanka in the guise of an ascetic to protect Vijaya. Wilhelm Geiger identifies the lotus-colored god with Vishnu's upala being the blue lotus. Senarath Paranavithana identifies him with Varuna. Vijaya tied a protective thread on the hands of all his followers. Later, a Yakini appeared before Vijaya's followers in form of a dog. One of the followers thought that the presence of a dog indicated the existence of a habitation, and went chasing her. After following her for some time, he saw a Yakini named Kuveni, who was spinning thread. Kuveni tried to devour him, but Vijaya's magical thread protected him. Unable to kill him, Kuveni hurled the follower into a chasm. She did the same thing to all the 700 followers. Meanwhile, Vijaya came to Kuveni's place looking for his men. Vijaya overpowered her and forced her to free his men. Kuveni asked Vijaya to spare her life, and in return, swore loyalty to him. She brought for Vijaya and his followers food and goods from the ships of the traders whom she had devoured earlier. Vijaya took Kuveni as his consort. Establishment of the Tambapani kingdom. As Vijaya and Kuveni were sleeping, he woke up to sounds of music and singing. Kuveni informed him that the island was home Yakas, who would kill her for giving shelter to Vijaya's men. She explained that the noise was because of wedding festivities in the Yakas city of Sarisivathu. With Kuveni's help, Vijaya defeated the Yakas. Vijaya and Kuveni had 2 children, Jivahata and Disla. Vijaya established a kingdom, which was named Tambapani, because the men's hands were reddened by the red soil of the area. The members of the community established by Vijaya were called Sinhala after Siabahu. Vijaya's ministers and other followers established several new villages. For example, Upatissa established Upatisagama on the bank of Gambhira River, north of Anuradhagama. His followers decided to formally consecrate him as a king, but for this he needed a queen of Aryan descent. Vijaya's ministers, therefore, sent emissaries with precious gifts to the city of Madura, which was ruled by a Pandu king. The king agreed to send his daughter as Vijaya's bride. He also requested other families to offer their daughters as brides for Vijaya's followers. Several families volunteered, and were adequately compensated by king with gifts. The Pandu king sent to Lanka his own daughter, other women, craftsmen, 1,000 families of 18 guilds, elephants, horses, wagons, and other gifts. This group landed in Lanka at a port known as Mahatitha. Vijaya then requested Kuveni, his Yakini queen, to leave the community, saying that his citizens feared supernatural beings like her. He offered her money, and asked her to leave the 2 children behind. The Kuveni took the children along with her to the Yaka city of Lankapura. She asked her children to stay back, as she entered the city, where other Yakas recognized her as a traitor. She was suspected of being a spy and killed by a Yaka. On advice of her maternal uncle, the children fled to Sumanakuta. In the Malay region of Lanka, they became husband-wife and gave rise to the Palinda race. Meanwhile, Vijaya was consecrated as the king. The Pandu king's daughter became his queen, and other women were married to his followers according to the rank. He bestowed gifts on his ministers and his father-in-law. He gave up his evil ways, and ruled Lanka in peace and righteousness. Last days. Vijaya had no other children after Kuveni's departure. When he grew old, he became concerned that he would die heirless, so he decided to bring his twin brother Sumitra from India to govern his kingdom. He sent a letter to Sumitra, but by the time he could get a reply, he died. His ministers from Upati-Sagama then governed the kingdom for a year, while awaiting a reply. Meanwhile, in Sinhapura, Sumitra had become the king, and had 3 sons. His queen was a daughter of the king of Madha. When Vijaya's messengers arrived, he was himself very old. So, he requested one of his sons to depart for Lanka. His youngest son, Pandavasdeva, volunteered to go. Pandavasdeva and 32 sons of Sumitra's ministers reached Lanka, where Pandavasdeva became the new ruler. Significance. Within Sri Lanka, the legend of Vijaya is a common political rhetoric used to explain the origin of the Sinhalese, and is often treated as a factual account of historical events. Sinhalese scholars such as K.M. De Silva have used the legend to propose an Indo-Aryan origin for the Sinhalese, thus distinguishing them from the Dravidian Tamils. At the same time, some Sinhalese authors have also used the myth to oppose Tamil secessionism, arguing that the Sinhalese and the Tamils are one race, because their ancestors included the maidens sent by the Pandyan king of Madurai. Some Tamil nationalists, on the other hand, have claimed that their ancestors were the Yakas massacred by Vijaya. Tamil authors like Sachi Ponnambalam have dismissed the legend as fiction aimed at justifying Sinhalese territorial claims in Lanka. The various genetic studies on Sinhalese and Sri Lankan Tamils have offered differing conclusions. R.L. Kirk, for example, concluded that the Sinhalese are genetically closest to the East Indian population of Bengal. N. Saha, however, disagreed with Kirk's findings and concluded that the Sinhalese display a close genetic affinity with the Tamils.